Welcome to the Nailed It Wall.
Welcome to episode 2 of the Nailed It Wall. This week, we're going to talk about what we've been up to this summer break. We're also going to reflect on the past school year, and we're going to talk about what we're most excited about for the upcoming school year. We're also going to talk about all the coolest things we saw at this year's ISTE conference, as well as the upcoming CSTA conference in Phoenix. Buckle up and enjoy the ride. Welcome to episode 2 of the Nailed It Wall. I'm Mr. Lane, the STEM guy.
And I'm Mrs. Scofield.
Now, when we started summer, we set out a goal, and our number one goal is to get our podcast published, get it going, get everything situated, and we have officially arrived.
That's
For the past 4 years, we've gone back and forth. We want to start a podcast about all the things that we love to do, all the things we love to do in the classroom, all the places we've gone, all the people we've met, and now it was the greatest feeling this past week when we went through this process and I pulled up our podcast on Spotify.
That was amazing. And to find a place to host it, we were so excited to find Transistor, and that's been so amazing, very user-friendly, and then that's allowed us to take our dream and put it up on these platforms like Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Podcasts, I think. Stitcher, yeah. But just to be able to take something that's like, a dream and, put it up like that and share that passion is incredible. It's an incredible feeling.
It really is. I mean, we've talked the talk, and now we're finally walking the walk, and I could not be more proud. I mean, just listening to the first podcast, it was the greatest feeling. I know I said a lot. You sounded a little muffled.
Distant.
We're working on those things, so we're glad you're joining us on episode 2, whatever your podcast platform is. But just seeing our podcast on iTunes was the greatest moment, because that's what we've always wanted. We're like, we want to get on iTunes, have our podcast there, and a click of a button, have this be on whatever device you're listening on. And I could not be more proud about where we're going to embark, where we started, how we're going to grow from this. But so I just want to thank you for being our loyal followers, our loyal listeners, and joining us on the Nailed It Wall podcast journey. Now, we are the Nailed It Wall. We haven't been together the last couple of weeks. You've been away. Tell us what's been going on in your world the last couple of weeks.
Well, I jumped right into summer. My sister had a baby, so it was very exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that is such a treat to be a teacher, to have those times where you can really have a chunk of time to spend with family in that way. So it was amazing. And so we also made a summer bucket list to kind of maximize summer, because I feel like as teachers we're pretty exhausted when summer gets here, and it wouldn't be hard to spend a lot of that just chilling on the couch every day. But trying to avoid that and really build into your kids during that time, and then just go out and explore. And it's been such a great way to recharge, and I just love summer.
Now, what are some of the things on your summer bucket list?
We did things that were, a variety of things. The kayaking was huge. I need to be doing that every week.
And this is your first time kayaking?
First time kayaking. I did not flip. I actually had my iPhone out above my kayak. I was super nervous about that, but it was amazing. Things like that, where you're just out and doing the farmers markets, and I don't even know. We had so many different things, and just making things in the kitchen, taking that time to do things that are not super expensive. But lots of movies. There's been a lot of summer movies.
It's a great summer for movies. I'm with you there, and I cannot agree with you about just kind of unplugging, kind of recharging that battery if you get ready for the next school year, but also having that bucket list. As teachers, we're always setting goals, and we want to check things off and cross things off. My family were the same way in terms of that. Now, what's been the one thing, what's been your epic failure of the summer so far? I remember you talked about adjusting to a 4-year-old mentality.
Well, biggest failure. I would say, I don't know. I don't know. Do I have a summer failure? Do you know of one that I don't know?
I don't know. You said you had to recharge and rethink about how you're gonna
You mean from last year?
No, just this summer. Has there been anything that you've missed the mark on?
Well, sure. There's things, for instance, one of the things on there was to try new recipes. Some of those went pretty badly.
Nice.
That's okay, though. That's okay. Whole summer to perfect that. And one of them was a certain kind of dessert called macarons, and that's been fun. I'm going ice skating tomorrow. Hopefully that is not a failure, because I will be sad if I, fall and like break a hip or something. But those kinds of things are just, it doesn't even matter. Oh, hiking. That was actually a huge epic fail. I'm really bad with directions, and so I was relying on my mom to kind of navigate. And basically, we took a hike through Malibu, but it was basically through people's campsites because she couldn't find the trail. So it didn't matter.
So it runs in the family.
Yeah.
Yes.
It apparently runs in the family. Yeah.
And both of us we will get lost with Google Maps leading the way. So that's something that we pride ourselves on. Any conference we're going to, anywhere we need to be, if there's directions involved, you can count on us getting lost. I have to say, we're always, kind of embracing those failure moments, those things that we grow from. But, I remember, you talked about, technology is such a big part of our lives. We were, indexing all the computers in the classroom. And for some reason, I was yelling the numbers to you. And I was like 6, 7, 8, 3, and all of a sudden I heard a voice on my watch, and it was 911. I couldn't believe it. I felt so awful. I thought they were going to send somebody out here, and then my watch somehow, as I was reading these numbers off to you,
that's right,
contacted 911. So that was definitely my nailed it moment in a bad way to kick off the summer there. But I feel like I've just been nailing the family time. As my good friend Alison Chavez said, you can't put a price tag on your time. And I'm always that grumpy old guy on the porch preaching that to my kids. Do you understand how lucky you are? We get to do this and this and this because we are teachers, and you enjoy that, and something that we really need to recharge that battery.
You should talk about your friendship bracelets.
Oh, friendship bracelet. Yes, I went all in on the friendship bracelets. I'm not one to toot my own horn, but I will do it from time to time. As a kid, I was the master friendship bracelet. I mean, I would create the most amazing braids, weaves. I'd be selling them. I had a nice little hustle side gig. I was basically Jay-Z of the friendship bracelet game. And I sat down. I was like, all right, we're going to bust this out. I had my kids there. Again, my kids. Oh, we haven't talked about our kids. I have a daughter who's a dancer going into 3rd grade, loves dance, loves basketball, just loves life, loves to smile. And I have a son who's going to 1st grade, plays lots of sports, loves video games, loves technology. Tell us about your kiddos. We haven't talked about our kiddos.
All right. I have a daughter as well, and she is going into her 2nd year in high school. She will be driving, which she reminds me pretty much every other day, way too soon. And then I have a son who is going into 7th grade, who is he's a lover of technology, definitely coding and Legos, huge on Legos.
Acting.
Yeah, acting. He's very much an actor.
In the band.
Yeah, plays the tuba, which is it's a special instrument. And actually he's getting back into Boy Scouts, so he's off at camp right now. So
wow.
Active kiddos.
All right, so yeah, those are our kids. We're going to talk about them. We're looking forward to having them on the Nailed It wall here soon. But yeah, back to my friendship bracelet. So I sat down, I watched this YouTube tutorial. I chose this one that was way too hard, even for me, over my head. I lost my kids within 5 minutes, and I was I had to rethink about this whole thing. And then I came back and I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And I found this one with my daughter where you take 7 strings and a cardboard thing and you just move it 3 places. And we probably spent a good 3 to 4 hours of our weekend just doing this. In the car, she had it. So it came out pretty epic. She's still rocking around her ankle. So, and I've tried out a couple of new styles. You're actually rocking one on your wrist right now.
That's right, my chevron
What's
one.
The chevron?
Yeah, it's the chevron. Now, the thing that I like about your friendship bracelet story, though, is she's not just wearing the one that was the fixed one. She wears both of them.
Yes.
She thinks they're both so awesome.
Yes,
which is,
yes. So
that's the beauty of the failure thing.
Yeah, so that was the start of our summer there. So in a nutshell, those are kids. Those are kind of our nailed it, failed it, things that we look to grow on. And if you need a friendship bracelet, hit us up in the merch store there.
My daughter's better at it, just saying.
Now, ISTE. What are some of the things that you saw from this past year's ISTE? Well, starting off, with the start of this year's ISTE, got me excited. We've never attended an ISTE conference,
Not
but next year it's going to be in Anaheim, right in your backyard,
That's right.
representing the LBC. So, again, I'm saying I'm a lot, so I apologize. But as I saw at the beginning of ISTE, it got me excited just because that's where we're going to be next year.
Totally. ISTE is such a great thing for us because we sometimes feel like we're searching constantly for new ideas. And so you have this area where all of these great minds are all coming together in one space, and they're just, blowing the roof off the place, which is awesome. I think for me, when we've talked about this, I think the big takeaway that seems to be the thing this year is AR. That seems like it's been the thing that's going to kind of be and that's not new in education, but it's just the next platform for it. So what were some of the things that you saw from that?
Yeah, totally. I think the AR, a lot of people get kind of overwhelmed when you talk about AR and VR in education. And we should talk about AR is augmented reality and VR is virtual reality. And even now with FlipGrid, FlipGrid is in our Google classes that we teach the district, we encourage everyone to give students voice with FlipGrid. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you check it out. It's a free device on Chromebooks and iPads. But even the fact that they've understood what you can do with the AR at that level, you're going to have kids in kindergarten using AR and VR. I mean, so the merge cubes. The merge cubes are amazing. The co-spaces, kind of what they do with all that stuff. Just it gets you excited because we just got a set of 30 merge cubes this past year. And I know that we're going to do some pretty awesome things. But the apps now, the apps that are available, I mean, we saw that one app. Do you remember what that app was called that you said, you don't even think your iPads are updated for that?
Is that the Google Lens?
Yeah, I think it was the Google Lens.
Yeah.
So the big thing I saw, and we've been talking about really hitting the AR and VR big, and I feel like this is our year where we're going to try this, and that with that. For me, I have a vision of having three different spaces for green screens in my classroom.
That's the other huge thing.
Whether it be on a small scale or a large scale, and what people are doing is amazing, with green screens and this new feature on iMovie is just amazing. What you can do with it. I've been playing around with my Legos and kind of bringing things to life. I've had some failures with the green screen, but it is pretty awesome in terms of the creativity that schools are giving students through green screen.
Well, and I think that when we were talking about ISTE, we were wondering what were going to be the big things, what's going to be new and up and coming, kind of on the same level as when Spheros came out and things like that. But it's not so much that it's new technology, it's that you're mixing it differently and blending things together and using things in a new way, which I think will be awesome for us as educators, but then also to be able to show students how things work together. So you have green screen technology within your the iMovies, so you're mixing those kinds of things. And then same even with the FlipGrid, that's a video production, and then you're incorporating the AR into that. So it's cool to see them kind of doing that. And I think there's something with Adobe Spark maybe that has an AR thing that was just introduced at ISTE too. So that just seems to be the thing that is the big push, which is super cool because you already have those technologies in general, and a lot of them are free.
Yeah, and I think the thing too is just that excitement. You're in the middle of your summer, you're kind of seeing I saw one number, there's 10,000 educators in Philadelphia, maybe there's as high as 25,000 educators, and you just see all this excitement, all this energy, all these people that you follow on Twitter, you read about, you listen to, you learn from. And that was kind of the thing for me. I was I gotta try this out. I did the lightsabers with my kid. I saw Paul Hamilton doing this awesome thing with a lightsaber, and my son, kudos to him, had oral surgery, and then 3 hours later walks out with a green lightsaber. I'm hey, I'm gonna take a video, and him and my daughter just went at it in this epic Star Wars battle. But it just looks so cool, what you could do with this lightsaber to make it look like an actual an actual lightsaber, like in the battle, like with a touch of a finger on green screen in iMovie.
Yeah, I think the cool thing is too is for us to be able to have that time as teachers, like, yeah, we're doing these things and we're playing around, but it's a way to like interact with these technologies before we roll them out to kids, and then think like, okay, this is fun, so kids are going to like it, but then how do you like incorporate that into something that they may actually learn, but it's learning because they're going to enjoy it, and it's giving them a digital literacy that, you know, may be transferable as they kind of progress in their movie making and editing and all of that. That's huge to be able to do with students.
Yeah, totally. And like that's the thing too, is that, you know, we need to learn how, we have to feel comfortable, like as educators, with technology and like how we could use this in our classroom. And I've already come up with about 2 months of units that have stretched my year into next year's summer, of things that students can do with these things. And I could not be more excited about it. And we were talking the other day too, is like, we're kind of coming up on our 1 year anniversary of Twitter. We started at the beginning of this school year, and we've just learned so much from so many amazing people. And I could not imagine like all these things happening and me having no clue of how people were incorporating this tech. Even just learning the green screen feature, like I made a mistake. I did a portrait and a landscape video, and it kind of came out messed up with the sides there. And I was like trying to put this thing together, and I just reached out to this guy who's doing all these awesome things. You loved him. He did the arm through the TV screen and picked up the soda.
Love that guy.
And within an hour, he responded to me like, "Oh, we just flipped the screen here," and then I fixed that video. And it's just, that's like the professional learning network that Twitter has, and you know, it just made me so much of a better educator for it.
Totally. And then just you know, we need inspiration. I just finished reading Educated by Design by the Tech Rabbi, which is,
you love that book.
I love this book. I mean, it's marked up all over the place. And
also survived the sprinklers at your sister's house.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. But that's how much I love it.
Tech Rabbi, if you're listening, maybe a free copy.
I mean, all of my pages are still damp, but I just persevered. And but he talks so much about, I totally lost my train of thought with that. Oh, it's something that you just said. I don't know. Go and do.
All right, we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, we're so excited. But the summers, teachers are not just summering all the time, and both of us, we summer pretty hard. We have our kids, and it's kind of that time that you want to give back to your kids. Next week, we're going to be attending the Computer Science Teachers Association conference, which is like ISTE for computer science teachers. And we could not be more excited. It's in Phoenix this year, so I saw teachers from Maine are flying out to Phoenix. They're going to be a culture shock for the heat, but it's just so awesome that this is in our backyard. And so we have this opportunity to go to that this year and kind of learn about some of the things that are coming up. When we think about like microbit, and like you talk about like on Twitter, things that people are doing is like the hummingbird, is people taking like Scratch, like microbits, and like these robotics. So it's like they're taking code and like they're making these amazing things that, like, you know, they're moving, they're pop-up books. They're no longer these like touch button things. It's everything's gone to like understanding like the mechanics of motherboards, servos. It's just amazing what people are doing.
Well, and I think that that's cool for you, because I think computer science is really partnering more and more and kind of segueing into more of an overarching maker mentality. So definitely you're creating code, but you're combining it with other things where it's a little bit almost like the engineering part. So it's taking computer science, but then really just opening that up and partnering it with creation, which is super cool.
And like even with we weren't able to attend 2 weeks ago before ISTE. They had the Arizona Computer Science Week, and they had some pretty awesome things there, which looked more of like computer science being embedded into the curriculum. And this is something like, you know, 4 years ago, like we talked about seeing across the board, and our school has done an amazing job of that. And you do a great job with it as well. Like I love like what you did for the Hour of Code with your kids,
that was so fun.
Them what they do in Scratch? They were
They created cells. They were doing. They were doing atoms.
Atoms.
They were doing atoms. That's right. Biology was earlier. They were creating atoms, and so for them to kind of reinforce, and it was amazing for them to understand where the parts go and trying to get the momentum because they know electrons need a circle and just all of those things. All the conversations about that and counting what would go inside and outside. It was just a really incredible thing, and it was hard.
Yeah.
I like things like that are not easy. It takes some perseverance, and those are things that they have to kind of grit their way through, which they had so much more pride in something like that.
And they came out amazing. Like
really
some of
did.
them were they on the rings, their shells, like kind of going around where they kind of figure out how they could do this and this, and just giving those students a chance to like tinker and play with things,
and help each other.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I didn't know how to do all of that stuff, but then somebody would say, "Oh, I already figured out how to do that," and then they'd go over and help some with that, and then that's like a snowball thing because once that child learned, then they felt really excited to be the one to share, which was amazing. I loved doing that.
Yes, and we really have to go back and kind of look at those and like share some of those because some of them came out awesome. Like,
yeah, they really did.
We talked about like Tegan's was really good, and those are awesome. I'm getting off on a tangent there, but just saying you do a great job of incorporating computer science into your curriculum, which I think is going to be the big push when we go to the CSTA conference next week.
Yeah.
I could not be more excited because I've had a couple microbits, but I feel like those are going to be like the next makeys
I agree.
that really change the face of education. In the maker mentality, computer science, and in the gen ed classroom as well.
Yeah.
So that's going to be our next big push here in the next couple weeks. It's kind of scary. We're getting towards a month until school. I clearly did not turn off my watch here. Just saw that the Red Sox lost to the Yankees in London again.
Rough.
But next episode, I'll make sure I turn that off. As we go into this last month, what's your mindset? Where are we going?
Well, I feel like I've really embraced summer, and I'm going to continue to do that, but I'm starting to feel, especially after reading a few books by really inspirational people in the industry of education, I'm feeling super inspired. And so I'm excited to start kind of thinking about the school year, what things I really want to have incorporated that are different, where are my tweaks, and not to feel the dread of, oh, my summer's about to come to an end and I don't have to dive into work, but to kind of start tinkering with that in my mind and just get very inspired and excited about, the school year coming up. I'm starting to really look forward to it. I have an awesome group of kids coming up, and I'm really pumped to see what I can, do with them.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. I think we'll end it on that high note. Thank you for tuning in to the Nailed It Wall, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
If you're like us and you can't get enough of the Nailed It Wall, follow us on Twitter
@ThePositiveProton
or search Mr. Lane the STEM Guy.